So today we're going to talk about, of course, the 5 things that you see people doing wrong, or the 5 major mistakes essentially that people make when they're filing their taxes. So what's one of the first mistakes that you normally see? Well, I'll just let you take over from here, but what's mistake number one?
Yeah, I would say mistake number one is not hiring a professional,
Mm,
right? So I always use the plumbing analogy in that, me personally, it was one day, it was during a Super Bowl party about 6 years ago, actually, that I hosted at my house. And for some reason after the party, right, the toilet got overflowing.
mm,
We flushed it, we plunged it, we did everything you can imagine. And for some reason, it was something going on with the toilet. Like there was like this leak that was coming from the bottom. Right?
yeah.
And I could have easily went on YouTube and essentially hopped on and looked at videos and looked at all these things, bought some tools from Home Depot, and spent hours and hours as opposed to just hiring a plumber who's expert, right? They have experience in this field.
Yep.
It's going to take them a lot less time to get it done. And in the long run, although it might cost me money, it's actually going to save me money because it's time that I'm not spending, right? Time is greater than money, you know?
Yeah.
And so imagine if, let's say you're earning, $500 an hour, that's your
Yeah.
hourly rate, and it takes you, let's say, 10 hours to complete this. Well, now you just lost $5,000 and the plumber may have only charged you $250 because it was a 30-minute job for him,
Mm,
right? So time is greater than money. And you really have to realize that, so say you save time, you save money, and you more than likely will avoid making that mistake that you could have made or you might have made had you done it on your own.
mm. Mm.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's huge because a lot of people, they think, oh, I could do things myself,
Mm-hmm.
things of that sort. But that's the thing is that, and in reality, they really could, But
Mm-hmm.
I like to tell people like this: is you can most definitely learn how to do open heart surgery, but would you
Right.
learn? Would you rather learn how to do that though? Wouldn't I'd rather just hire a professional instead of me having to learn and keep up with because things change all the time, especially with taxes and such. Okay, all right. And then
Yes, sir.
what's the second mistake that you typically see with people doing their taxes?
I would say the second mistake is not filing at all,
Mm,
right? And so basically not filing at all, thinking that you're gonna owe or thinking that taxes are not something that you should file, just being ignorant to the fact, right?
yeah.
When in all cases, number one, you are legally required to file, right? Or the IRS can come knocking on your door. Number two is the IRS only knows your income. They don't know your expenses, right? So by filing, now you, as a business owner, now you can claim your business expenses because the IRS has a 1099 with your name on it, and it shows only income, gross income at that,
Mm,
right? No expenses. So now when you file, you can claim those expenses and tell the IRS like, hey, I didn't make all that money. I spent a decent amount of it. So tax me only on the difference between the two. And you can also, lastly, you can get a tax refund in the form of an overpayment in taxes or tax credits like the earned income tax credit, child tax credit, American Opportunity Tax Credit. You got the electric vehicle tax credit, right, for those that are buying Teslas and all that.
wow.
So I would say not filing at all is the second mistake that I see out
Got you. Got you.
there. So,
You know what? I've seen it. I've seen people do that too, man. Where they let the whole year go by or
right.
multiple years going by and simply not filing their taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, let's be honest, people are probably trying to avoid, payment. And that's the thing is that, it throws off other things. You start creating other issues. So I'm glad you
Yes, sir.
mentioned that. All right. And then what is mistake number three?
Number three, I would say, is not doing any tax planning throughout the year,
Mm,
right? Not doing any tax planning throughout the year. And you mentioned earlier that tax season is basically year round, right? The busy part of it
absolutely.
is January through April. That's 1000%. That's where we're grinding, we're hustling. But really, taxes go during the entire year. So before tax season hits, you should be doing some tax planning with your tax advisor, which is not tax preparation, right? So
Okay.
tax planning and tax preparation are two completely different services and they're not one and the same. The tax planning is what helps you save the money, right? That's what helps formulate the strategies, the write-offs, and the depreciation
Yeah.
and all that. And then the tax planning is the execution. That's where you actually file the tax return so that you can be compliant with the IRS and report all your business income and your business expenses as well.
Wow. Okay. So okay. So tax planning, and
Mm-hmm.
now you guys do stuff like that, right?
1,000%.
Got you. Okay.
1,000%.
All right. Let me ask another question. How do you know if a person, at what point does a person should they ask themselves that I should be doing tax planning? Is that any particular like revenue, or you're just saying that they should consider it in general?
Yeah, I would say anybody can benefit from tax planning. Even somebody who just has a W-2. I mean, what about, tax tips for retirement savings,
Mm.
right? So are you saving the right way? Most Americans are not saving the right way for retirement. They're saving pre-tax as opposed to after tax,
Yeah.
right? You should be saving after tax. They're not taking advantage of HSA, the health savings account, right? They're
Mm.
not buying real estate. So although you
Yeah.
may be, we call it like, small W-2 or, have a
Yeah.
small business, there's always planning opportunities for everybody. Now, who mainly benefits with tax planning? I would say those that are high income earners, right? 6-figure plus earners, whether it's in the business or the W-2. If you just got married or you just had a baby, that's a great planning opportunity. But anybody can really benefit from tax planning, to be honest.
Got you. Got you. I love it, man. I love it.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Awesome. All right. And then what would you say is mistake number 4?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Mistake number 4 is ignorance.
Hmm.
Ignorance. And I mean it with all due respect with that word. And just not seeking the knowledge, right? People become so ignorant when it comes to finances where they make it look like rocket science when finances are really a part of life, right? It's,
Yeah.
it's a natural thing that we do every single day, right? We go out and work 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours a day. I mean, shouldn't we spend some time learning about what it is that we're working so hard for?
Yeah.
Right. So just ignorance, not educating yourself, not being proactive with the education. No, you're not the expert, right? But at least get some type of education so that nobody can screw you over and you're not overpaying Uncle Sam.
Wow. Yeah. You know what? I think that my wife and I we've been, really studying like retirement lately. And we're getting older, man. You got to stay on top of this stuff. And
Yes, sir.
it's one of those conversations like you just mentioned, it's just a normal part of life. So,
Mm-hmm.
why avoid the conversation, right? And I think
Exactly.
that people are not necessarily avoiding it. They just either would rather not necessarily talk about it, or they may feel like because of their education level or knowledge level on it, they don't want to feel like it's something that they should know, if that
For
makes
sure.
sense. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then of course, last but not least, mistake number 5.
If I could think of one, mistake number 5 would be not paying the taxes, right?
Mm,
And so, yeah, if you owe money in taxes, it's not the worst thing in the world,
yeah.
right? Ideally, you should not be receiving a tax refund, nor should you, owe anything. You should be at zero, right? Just
Yeah.
no money owed, no money paid. You're net at zero with the IRS.
Yeah.
But when you have that tax liability, you got to pay it. At a minimum, set up a payment plan,
Yeah.
which you can go up to 72 months, 72 months on the payment plan with the IRS. Pretty low interest rate. You can set it
Yeah.
up online, irs.gov/payments. It's pretty easy, or you can call them. So not paying your taxes, it's definitely going to hurt you because they can do things like place lien on your car, right? Garnish your wages, lien on your house. They can
Yeah.
do pretty much anything they want. So definitely pay your taxes and preferably on time. But check this bonus: do some tax planning beforehand so that you don't have to pay any taxes to begin with.
Wow. And you know what? And you hit it right on the head. Like you said, doing the tax planning in advance will at least not necessarily guarantee, or it at least will prepare you for what's to
Right.
come. What is like,
Exactly.
what things are looking like.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And I had another question for you too, Jeff. So now, of course, and also too, guys, I hope you guys took notes on these mistakes so you guys are not making these mistakes here. Okay.
Mhm.
So now, Jeff, I know you kind of mentioned a couple of tax changes for the new year. If you wouldn't
Mhm.
mind kind of going back over that, so what are some new tax changes that you've seen as of recently?
I mean, there's really only maybe about three, honestly, that changed.
Okay.
Not a whole lot has changed, but number one is if you have an electric vehicle, right? An
Okay.
electric vehicle like a Tesla or the new, we got the Mercedes, right? Mercedes has their own electric vehicles now. We got Ford, Mach-E, I believe, right? So if you
Wow.
buy an electric vehicle, you can get a $7,500 credit for any electric vehicle that you buy, a new electric vehicle at least.
Hmm.
And essentially, with the electric vehicle, as long as it's new, you get a $7,500 credit. There's also one for used cars as well,
Okay.
but it is definitely a big credit, right? You get that $7,500 credit. In the past, it was limited per car, but now it's a full 7,500. So that would be one, and then another one basically is bonus depreciation. They lowered the limits a little bit. So
Okay.
bonus depreciation is, let's say you got a car or a truck, you bought it for $50,000, you can write off the full 50,000, right? As of the end of 2022, if you bought the car by the end of 2022. Now, if you buy it after 2022, so 2023, then you can only claim 80% of it up front, right? So 80% bonus depreciation instead of 100% bonus depreciation.
Wow.
Yeah, outside of that, nothing really has changed. They did say that the IRS has new agents in house and all this and that, but they they're trying to shut down the IRS to begin with. So I don't know how
Wow.
true that is.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And
Yes,
then
sir.
also too, now, and of course, I want to make sure that I get the right answer on this because there are some people
Hmm.
who just want to know in general. Let's say, for example, if someone wanted to, reach out to you to assist them with their taxes,
Hmm.
is that something that you can help people with nationwide?
Yeah, so we can assist clients in all 50 states,
Wow.
every single state. We actually have clients that literally live in different countries, so over 25 countries right now,
Yeah.
and they have to still file taxes in the US, and we assist them with that, right? So we file taxes in all 50 states. We do tax planning in all 50 states. Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. And then, okay, well, listen, Jeff, I greatly appreciate you taking out the time away from your business and things that you're doing. Of course, I know you got a huge clientele, so we greatly appreciate you carving out some time to give the people some great information. So, if they wanted to kind of follow you on social, what's the best
Mhm.
handles to find you at?
Yeah, that's a great question, and thank you, Calvin, for having me today. Definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, in terms of social media, so if you're doing Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, or TikTok too, right? It's at jbadu32, at jbadu32, so jbadu32. And then if you're doing Facebook and LinkedIn, it's just my name, Jeff Badu. So you can find me on there. And then my personal website is jeffbadu.com, jeffbadu.com. If you're looking for services, then you can hop on our website at badutaxservices.com. That's BADU taxservices.com. Or you can call us at 773-819-5675. That's 773-819-5675. And we're always more than happy to help. When you call, somebody will pick up, 100% guaranteed. All right.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
listen, we most definitely want to make sure that you guys get that information. He's always dropping, tax, tips and nuggets throughout that time frame. And again, Jeff, we greatly appreciate you stopping by again on today. And yeah, you know what? Maybe we should have you come, a little bit more than just tax season,
For sure.
just to check in and just make sure people are getting their tax plan and such, right? So again, thank you again. So we greatly appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you, Calvin.
All right.